messages. And remember, you get the loading and error and so forth. But in this case, I don't care about the loading and error. I just care about that. We're going to have the use collection from here. And then I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be a query now, because basically I want to do what I did before. So I have a collection, but I need to order it by the creator that date. So that way it's always in the sequential time and date order, right? So in this case, what I do is I pull in the query from Firestore, and then we basically make a combined query, right? So in this case, the first one is going to be the collection itself. So this is going to be the collection from Firestore. It's going to include the date, database. There we go. And then it's going to be the path. So in this case, users. It's going to be session. Session dot user dot email, and then it's going to be making sure that it says that it's always there. So then that's why we got the exclamation mark. Then it's going to be chats / the chat ID, which we have inside of here because of the because of the ID, we get it passed through here. Romania in the house, what's up? Yeah, and then we're going to go into the messages themselves. Okay, so that's a messages collection within. Okay, so that's that bit. Then what I want to do is comma over here. So if you see here, this is a comma. So it's like the second argument of the query, right? We're going to say order by from Firestore. And this one is going to be the created at field, which is the one, basically the timestamp. And we're going to do ascending, okay? So what this will do now is it makes like an aggregate query. So basically it queries the collection for here, gives me a real-time listener, but it orders it before it returns it. So this way the messages are always going to be in time order ascending. Okay, so now if I hit save, what we can nicely see now is those messages will be, and the reason why I need that message, by the way, we don't actually need to order it here, to be fair. I don't think, yeah, we don't actually need it here. I need the exclamation mark because otherwise it will say, you know, that the session user email might not be there, right? But in this case, we logged in with a Gmail account, which means we always have an email. So I'm going to say that it's always there, right? Vetri, thank you so much for a donation. He goes, hey, Sonny, big fan of your builds. Can you do more builds on blockchain using Solidity and Web3 stuff? I sure can, right? I have an amazing partnership that we're working with, so I sure can do that. I hear you, dude. All right, so at this point now, what we're going to do is, 1 second. All right, so so in this case, what we're now going to do is, sorry, I've gone a bit blank. So we've got the messages. So the reason why I did that right there was because I actually, so in this case, I didn't actually need to order it, I don't think. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, it's okay. Cool. So in this case, we can go to the actual message. So I want to basically get the, so this is deleting. No, sorry. I need the text. So I need the actual text of the thing I'm calling. So in this case, messages, docs, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the length. So messages, docs, and this is could be undefined, dot length -1, and then I will say data text. All right, and I'll explain this, or it'll say new chat. So basically what this is doing is I want it to basically pull the last bit of text from that chat. Okay, so pull the last bit of text from that chat itself, or just say new chat. Okay, so in this case, it hasn't got any messages there, so it has nothing to say. But that's essentially what we just did. Okay, so now also notice how if I click into these, it changes the URL to that link. So every time I click on it, it changes the URL, right? So the next step is to have a use effect which determines if we are active or not. So in this case, I'm going to say use effect, and then we've got our syntax for a use effect with our dependency array. And then I'm going to say, if there is no path name, I'm going to return from this function because we're going to protect it. We're defensively programming. Otherwise, I'm going to set active, and I'm going to basically say, if the path name includes the ID. Okay, it's a very simple check. Okay. And then basically, as we have a variable inside of here, we have to include it in the dependency array. Okay, so path name here. Now, what we can see is that the active will now get set based on this matter. So what we can do here is I can actually go ahead and apply a conditional styling by saying the following. I can go ahead and say, active, and that means only if it's active should you change the background to a slightly different shade of gray. So that way I know that that's the one. Okay, there we go, guys. Look at that, active. So if I click this one now, bam, that's active. If I click this one now, bam, that's active. If I click this one now, bam. And then if I click a new chat, notice how it creates a new chat and then it makes that the active one. So good, right? So good. In fact, what I didn't do correctly, which I made the mistake on, is I should maybe order these in the other one. So in this case, the query call that I've got here, maybe we should be applying it over here, which I think would be a nicer version to do, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this open on the side, and I'll show you. What I'm doing is I'm simply just moving this, right? So I don't need the query here. I need the query over here. So I'm going to say query. I'm going to wrap my collection like so. And then I'm also going to pass in the order by created. There we go, created at ascending. And now I'm going to pass in the query. I'm going to pass in order by, hit save. Oops, my prettier is dying here. There we go. And now this one will basically query it. And this one I actually didn't need to query it. I just realized I didn't actually need to do that. So that's better. Okay, so now what I just did, guys, was I basically said that on the sidebar, the most recent one should come at the top or bottom, I can't remember. But basically, if I click new chat, there we go. So the new chat now will come to the bottom. So you see that? If I click new chat, boom, there we go. And it automatically selects it because that is now being highlighted based on if the route matches. So you might actually find that massively useful because a lot of you always ask me, how do I now go ahead and do that? So somebody says, why not use path name instead of use effect? I think you can actually use path name. I did use path name over here, guys. So if you look inside of chat row, I use path name to get the path name, and then we have a use effect to determine if the path name that I got from use path name was the one that I wanted or not, or is it the active one currently in state, right? So the next thing I want to do is the ability to delete a chat. Okay, so I'm going to create a function called const remove chat. Ahmed, whoa, $10 donation as the song's about to drop. Holy crap, dude, thank you so much. He just wrote thank you on it. Massive appreciation. That's huge. This stream is popping off today. Like, this is actually mad. I'm going to remove chat. This is going to be an asynchronous function. So sick. Thank you so much, guys. Right? And then here we're going to say await, and this is going to be a delete doc call. Right? Now think about what's happening, right? Because I'm going to call this method, and we have a real-time listener rendering out things in the sidebar, sorry. A real-time listener rendering this out. So as I delete documents, they're going to get real-time affected in the backend, and it's going to go and show this, right? So it's going to have a lot of stuff going on. 800 likes as well. Bang in, let's get to 1,000, guys. Come on, I know we can do this. So I'm going to open up the doc right now, and I'm going to pull in the database, which I believe I've done it. And then I'm going to say, we're going to go into the users. We're going to go into the session.user.email with it, make sure it's there. Then we're going to go into the chats. Then we're going to go into the ID. And then we're going to go ahead and basically, so we're just deleting that document. So basically deleting that chat right there, because look, it's a chat with the ID of something, right? So that's essentially what we've done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the user from that screen. Well, we can actually replace the user URL because they shouldn't be able to technically go back to a screen that's deleted, right? So in this case now, remove chat is assigned here. And then what I want to do is hook up the trash icon to this button. So now when you click that, it'll remove that chat. And because we have a real-time listener connected in, well, this should work flawlessly. So if I go ahead and do this, boom, pow, boom, boom, boom. We can add new chats, delete them, add new chats. And if I wait a second, it will redirect me to that chat. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Look at that. If I delete that one, it will change to the home screen. Oh, just amazing. If I delete that one, it will change to the home screen. Look at that, guys. I can add like 5 chats at a time, delete as many as I want, and it just does it. And in Firebase in the back end, this is all happening. So if I go into over here now, you'll see that there's madness over here, right? Look. So look at this chats right here. Pow, pow, pow. Delete, 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 delete. Oh, it's just beautiful. Look, 3 chats, bam, bam, bam. Oh, it's just so nice. right? So really nice, really nice. Okay, now we have the chat functionality. So we have the ability to create and delete chats. So now we're going to go ahead and no flashing UI while deleting. I know, it's beautiful. It's just a masterpiece, right? So at this point, we're going to go over here. Pally says, how cool is that? I know, right? It's so sick. All right, so now inside the chat. So over here, now this is where it gets really interesting, right? So this is where we're going to essentially go into chat GPT stuff, okay? So get ready for this. So at this point, we have, firstly, we need to go to the page itself. And inside of here, we're going to have two main elements, okay? So the first one is going to be the chat window, right? So the actual chat. The second one is going to be the chat input. And these are going to be decoupled elements, right? This is why I'm creating two separate elements. Adi says a vibe song. It is, honestly, it is really cool, right? So here we're going to say that this one's going to be a flex box, flex column, height of screen, and then we're going to say overflow hidden. Right, so the reason why I want to have overflow hidden is because I want to have it scrollable, right? So once I'm in this chat screen, I actually want to have it like a scrollable. I don't want it to ever the whole page scroll down. I want it to be a set height, and then I want to have the inside chat, only that to be scrollable, okay? So now what we need to do is create a chat component. So chat.tsx, do RFCE, get rid of this. This is going to be my chat screen. So now if I go to my ID screen, so my ID screen right here, and I go ahead and I get rid of this so I can say chat. Now I popped in my chat component, and then here you can see over here I can go ahead and say look, chat, boom. So that's the chat component. Awesome stuff, right? And then right alongside that, if I go back into the chat, I can go ahead and create the chat input as well while we're here. Right, so let's go ahead and just do two birds, one stone. Let's go ahead and create a chat input inside my components folder. So chat input.tsx, RFCE, boom, go up here, delete. And now over inside the page.tsx, so over here, I'm going to go ahead and import this like so. Okay, now we've got the chat and the chat input. So we're going to change this into what we want. Newt Buxton, whoa, what's up, dude? He was Sweden in the house. So Sweden says, sick, man. Okay, so at this point now we've got the chat page, okay? Now the chat page itself, I do need something from this. I'm just determining what I need. So at this point, from this page, okay? So I can get this ID because this is a page route, okay? So this right here is a page route, okay? Which means that page routes automatically, so anything at the top level, not a component, a page route. Anything at the top level gets some props. And when you have a dynamic value like this, rather than doing use path name and cutting it up and shit like that, you don't have to do that, right? Instead, you just go ahead and do, if you got props like so, you can console log your props and look what we get inside. And notice how this is a server component, hence why it's going to be listed out in my server logs. So in this case, you can see params. So you see how the ID is in there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract this, but I'm going to do it in a safe way with TypeScript. So I'm going to say, I'm going to enforce the props, right? And then I'm going to say params are inside. I didn't care about the other ones. All I care about is a string. There we go. And then I'm going to enforce it. So I'm going to say that this is params, and I'm doing some inner destructuring work here. So destructure it and props. There we go. Right. And Sonny, what have you done? Oops, my bad. Props. There we go. Cool. Now inside of here, I'm going to pass these in. So I'm going to pass the ID down here, and I'm going to pass the ID down here. So only one layer of drilling in. Yeah, right, props. Someone inside is like, why are you doing this? Why are you passing ID in? It's okay, right? It's fine. And here I'm going to rename this as well to chat ID. So let's rename this to chat ID. Boom. And then in my chat and chat input, I'm going to update these accordingly. So let's go ahead and import this right now. So firstly, I'm going to have a types, my prop type definitions like so. Then I've got my chat ID with the props. Okay, so we've got this updated, and then we've got my my chat. See how it stopped complaining? I'm gonna do the same thing for this. So we've got the same props being passed in here. So chat ID props, and then we're gonna say type props chat ID string. Okay, so now we've got this looking pretty nice. So now we've got our props being entered in. So the first thing is let's do either the chat or the chat input. It really don't make a difference. Chat, let's do first. Okay. So actually, let's do the chat input first, because then I can actually enter messages in and then we can display the messages, right? So let's do that. It makes more logical sense. So the chat input is actually the bottom one. So I'm clicking into that, command click, and then we've got the chat input. So let's get the magic done here, guys, right? So first things first, let's get the UI in. So we've got a form, right? The reason I've got a form is because I want to have this like type in, hit enter functionality, right? So here I'm going to the input. It's going to be typed text. And then I'm going to have mapping it to the state. Now, there's many ways you can map your text and get it out of an input field, okay? I know this. You can do it with the ref. You can do it with state. I'm going to do it with state today, but you can do it whatever way you want. Ref, state, whatever. I'm doing state because I want to disable it if there's no session. But yeah, you can do it whatever way you want. It really don't. There's just several ways. You can use React Hooks form. Yeah, there's so many ways you can do this, right? So here I'm going to say type your message here. This is when I got my Tesla in my vlog. This is that soundtrack. All right. Last name P5 space X